Welcome to the Spiritual AF Life podcast, a magical place where your host, Heather Danielle, psychic medium, will bring the mystical woo-woo world down to earth in practical ways. Tune in every Monday for your weekly reading and on Wednesdays to hear fascinating conversations with spiritual experts, uplifting stories, and deep dives into the metaphysical world, all to help you tap into the invisible guidance that's all around you. It's time to start living a spiritual AF life. Get cozy, the conversation is starting now.
Okay, before we get into this week's reading, I have three kind of cool things to tell you. So the first thing is that I am re-recording this podcast. I had just spent a half hour basically talking to myself about the whole entire rigmarole of what was happening this week. And guess what? It completely freaking disappeared. And so a lot of us might be frustrated, might be annoyed, like, oh my gosh, I did all that work for nothing. And believe me, that is definitely happening right now. But I also take it as a sign that maybe that was a message for me. Maybe it was a message that, they weren't ready to share with you. Or maybe there were some things that I said in there that maybe weren't right on. Maybe I mistranslated it. So I always think that everything happens for a reason. So guess what? We are starting over. I am going to pull the cards as they come out to give you that insight. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to tell you is I had used in that episode and will be using in this episode right now the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid. Love that deck so much. If you want to take a look at it, it'll be in the show notes, and then the weekly cards are going to be on Facebook, hopefully Instagram, maybe. Don't really look there too much, and then also on Pinterest. And definitely check out the Pinterest because it has all the past cards and everything like that. You absolutely love it. However, the reason why I wanted to use this card deck was because animals have been showing up really big and loud lately, all that kinds of things. And the craziest story happened yesterday. So yesterday I did coffee and cards and I did it in my car and it was kind of funny. It was a lot of fun. I hope you had a good time. Definitely, if you want to check it out, I will put the link in the show notes because all it is pick a card. And in that little episode that I did of Coffee and Cards, I brought up the fact that one time I asked my mom to send me a sign, so some kind of animal as a sign, which, as you know, they often do. They show you butterflies and things like that. They might show you different kinds of birds to let you know. Well, on this particular day, when I asked my mom to send me a sign that she was around me, I went to the corner outside my subdivision and I saw a coyote with a bunny, like killing it or like running away with it, had just killed the bunny. And I was like, oh my God, WTF. Like, I cannot believe that this is actually happening. Can't believe I'm seeing this with my own eyes. And I shared this story during Coffee and Cards. And I hadn't shared it in like a very long time. I'm not sure what made me think of it. Well, anyways, I get done with Coffee and Cards and I go back up to the hotel room where my husband is. After a few minutes of getting up there and stuff, my husband says to me, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. A couple of days ago, when I was leaving really early in the morning, he was like, there was a coyote in our neighbor's yard across the street with a dead bunny in his mouth. And I was like, oh my God. This is so crazy because I have just told that story after so long while I was in the car. And so what was really neat about this is when I pulled the original cards in the podcast episode that did not apparently record right or whatever it is, was not meant to be, aired, I actually pulled the Coyote Spirit card. So I thought that was amazing that that card came up, the coyote, after all the things that we're talking about. But I do want to share with you the symbolism for coyote that I learned, that I always remember. And now, since I always remember that this is my definition of coyotes, and when I see a coyote, that is what I think about. Now, since I have that established, spirit is now going to know. It's like we're kind of creating our relationship. Yeah, we are creating a relationship, but our language together. So that from now on, Spirit's like, okay, if I need to teach Heather about this, then I'm gonna show her coyote. And what this is, and what symbolism for coyote is divine detours. Trust in divine detours. So if things are not working out, they're not working out for a reason. Whether or not we ever freaking figure it out, whether or not it actually makes sense. The thing is that God, angels, spirit guides, whatever you want to call it, this magnificent force that is allowing us to even have this conversation right now is incredibly freaking powerful. So they have the power to do a lot of different crazy things. Miracles can 1000% occur at any freaking moment. So you have to trust with all of your heart, with all of your soul, that if something was not meant to happen, then they would have stepped in. We have free will, 100%, and we can create with our lives whatever we want. However, there is this time in this place that, okay, spirit can step in if you are about to do something crazy. Think about it like a child, and the child is in one of those walkers, and they can go everywhere. They have free will, all this stuff, all around. But then, as a mom or as a parent, what you will do if that child starts going off the freaking staircase. You are probably going to try and stop them. You're going to incur all miracles. You are going to just get over there faster than ever. And so you're going to try and block that. And that's what God does. That's what spirit does. But sometimes things are meant to happen. I kind of regret using this analogy because I don't want anybody to think that I think that babies falling down staircases is meant to be. But basically, if SHIT is going down, you just have to trust it could be for a reason. And man, now I feel like I'm just getting myself into a hole. But hopefully right now you can just open up your mind just a little bit and think to yourself, if any, that has happened, okay? Just be honest, okay? That has happened. Freaking kids have fallen down the freaking stairs on those freaking walkers. That's the reason why that there's a freaking warning now. And not all parents were able to make it to that staircase in time. And you know what? That's it. Just in case that people are judging me right now, I'm just going to tell you something. My son has an effed up hand because of me. Because of something that I did and I messed up and I wasn't able to get to him in time. I left an iron out when he was about 2 years old. And I know what you're saying, Heather. You're like, oh my God, why didn't you put the iron up? Why didn't you do this? Okay. First off, I hid the iron on a table that had a whole bunch of other crazy things on it. Okay. And I didn't think that my son would see it. And it was heating up. And I was knees deep in freaking laundry. I didn't think that he was going to see the darn iron, and he basically took off and ran towards the iron. Now, my son usually listened to me. I know even at 2 years old, he usually still listened to me. He's always been kind of a good kid. He's had his moments. But I was like, no, Mason, no, Mason, no. And I thought in the back of my mind that I would have enough time to jump and to save him if he grabbed the iron. Let's just say I did not have enough time. And he placed his little baby hand onto the hot iron. I know what you're thinking right now because I lived this when it happened. And I kind of messed up again. And I picked him up. I thought that if I picked him up, it would release this instinct for him to remove his hand from the iron. And guess what? It did not. And then I had to remove his hand manually from the iron. He had severe burns, as you could probably expect. We rushed him to the hospital, things like that. And basically, even years later, when he was about 12, 13 years old, he finally had to have stitches, not stitches, he had to have cosmetic surgery on his hand so that he could open up his hand. Now, if he ever goes for a palm reading, guess what? That palm reader's in for a fucking surprise because guess what? You can't read his lifelines on that hand. His skin, you can still show, is melted together. All right, so I'm telling you that because I want you to know that when I say this, I understand that mistakes happen. And I understand sometimes that we don't understand the reasons why things happen. And I do not know why that happened with my son. I have zero clue. I'm still not understanding it. I still beat myself up about it. I still feel very guilty. Every time I see his hand, it is a reminder that I messed up in his life. And guess what? There's a lot of worse stories out there. Okay, but I do have to say, going back to our analogy with the walker going down the stairs, that really became such an issue that a great, good movement came out of it. All right. So now more people were more aware of that is something they should look out for. A lot of times, they didn't allow that inside of their house if they had stairs. They bought baby gates. They did stuff. So basically, what I'm saying is sometimes you can find the good in the bad. All right. Sometimes you can. Sometimes it's going to be hard, like mine. I don't know why that happened. Maybe it was to teach me to be more vigilant and things like that. Yeah, you can always look at that. The truth be told, I have zero clue why I'm talking about this right now. And if you are someone who is like me right now, like, yeah, Heather, I have zero clue why you are saying these words right now. I came in for this week's reading. I have to trust that it's for a reason, and it's not for you, then it's someone you know, or for someone else who's listening to this podcast right now that maybe needs to let themselves off the hook and to just trust. There might be a good outcome that comes maybe even years later. Woo! All right. I didn't even get to the card yet, and I still have a third thing to talk about. And the third thing that I just wanted to talk about was I have extended the sale to get into the Coffee and Cards Club for just the $7 for a couple more weeks. And that is because a lot of people told me that, Heather, you didn't give me enough time to be able to join the club, and I just need to, get some things in order. So I did extend it for that reason. So if you are interested in joining us, if you love coffee, if you love tarot and oracle cards, you're going to fit right in. If you have no idea what you're doing, you're going to fit right in. And if you are one of the advanced ones or ones that are interested in mediumship and psychic stuff, we have a couple development circles a month. And so that's going to be really good because right now there is a blend in the Coffee and Cards Club because it's kind of just a cute little, very tight knit kind of group. And we have beginners and we also have more advanced. And it's really cool because when we're in the circles, you can see how the advanced work and how I walk them through it. And then you can also see how some of the new ones who are just completely beginning and have no idea what they're doing, and they just get so many cool hits and they're growing so much. And we're actually going to be meeting in person too in Florida. So if you join our club, then you will be invited and you can join for $7. See if it's something that you like. Don't like it, guess what? You can go ahead and reach out to me anytime to cancel. So anyways, that is the 3 things that I wanted to talk to you about. Sorry for being so long-winded, but we're going to get right into this week's reading. All right. Monday is Bat Spirit. All right. And it says a rebirth is assured. 1000% on Monday. It's saying whatever trauma, whatever challenges that you have been going through, don't worry. Things are going to be turning around. You are in the season of your life. It's not your whole life that you are going through right now. It's kind of like a rebirth. So with rebirths come endings and making way for new beginnings. It's also showing me the number 5, which could symbolize the month of May. So maybe there's some kind of significance with that May month, or maybe it could be just big major changes. And it literally says here, perhaps, okay, sorry, yeah, so it says perhaps are you refusing to let something die? Bat Spirit, which is the card that came up, is gently nudging you to let go of your need to cling to a familiar story that has already run its course. A new story is posed to be born. Some people were only meant to last for a moment in this lifetime. Sometimes they were only there to slow you down as you recalibrated in preparation for the new life that will give you what you really want. Perhaps you need to grieve as you say goodbye to something. At least you're saying goodbye to its familiar form. Perhaps you must let go of the part of you that must die so you can be reborn. This is a temporary time in the dark that doesn't have to be scary or sad, though. Bat Spirit gives you her powers of perception and awareness as you learn to listen deeply and navigate your own caves of temporary emptiness. You'll emerge with a new perspective, and Bat Spirit will witness you giving birth to the life that matches the intentions and the desires of your heart and soul. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I freaking just love this one so much just because it's like, yeah, you're going through a hard time and you may be wondering, like, okay, like, I am totally feeling, like, how do I say this? I am totally feeling out of sorts. I'm totally feeling like I'm grieving. Like, I need I need something to hold on to. And basically what this is saying is that something to hold on to is truly coming. But you just need to let go of like beating yourself up, of thinking that there was something else that you could have done, that, this or that, and you're just playing the sad stories in your head again. You need to start thinking about it in like a different way, that you're going through a season, and to honestly drop any stories that don't serve you by trying to see it from a good perspective. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but meditate on it, do some automatic writing, see what comes out of that, because that's basically how I am getting it from spirit right now. So if it's not making sense, then I think that that is a moment for you to go within and to really see how that resonates with you, and then maybe get some of your clear answers that's going to be specific just to you. All right, so Tuesday's card is Fox Spirit number 27, and it says think on your feet. So 27 is also 72. Think on your feet, and it says be alert now, for Fox Spirit has appeared, and you are meant to move swiftly. Let this clever spirit draw out your creativity as you adjust to rapidly changing circumstances with resilience, grace, and astuteness. Fox Spirit helps you to think on your feet, using your best judgment and wits to help you slip into a more advantageous situation. Now is not a time to hesitate, but a time for swift action of mind, a time to think outside of the box and notice the many ways in which you might make a move, aware of your surroundings, and always be clear on what you deserve or wish to co-create. Trust that your cleverness, guided by Fox Spirit, will serve you well. Boom. Microphone drop. Honestly, I think that's like the best message, and it's almost like I feel like they said everything right there. So I'm just gonna go on to Wednesday's card. Oh wow, these are coming out quickly. One moment, one moment, as I figure this out. Who knew that shuffling cards could be so difficult? Okay, so Friday's card. Wow, we're like skipping ahead. Wednesday's card is Turtle Spirit. Oh my gosh, I love, 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 love this card. And it's Turtle Spirit. It's number 62. It says slow and steady wins the race. And it says that this message arrives to you to remind you that when you do what you need to do, putting one foot in front of the other and trusting that you will see intentions manifest in perfect timing, your prosperity and love will grow exponentially. Now is not the time to rush around trying to force matters. Move slowly, perhaps even so slowly that it almost feels as if you're not moving at all. This may be time to crawl before walking, taking your time to align into spirits of turtles place as you contemplate this road you are on, doing what you need to do in a small moment that will soon pass. Turtle Spirit reminds you that sometimes the best action is to slow down. So if it feels if you're not going fast enough, know that simply being aware of what is happening right now may be an important step towards determining whether you need to pivot or simply keep one foot in front of the other. Trust love, trust success, comes patience. Focus on now, and the next step will be clear. Okay, this card is really saying on Wednesday to not make any rash choices, those kinds of things, and to literally just put one foot in front of the other and to slow down. Just to slow down. You don't have to make any choices that are like right now. It's saying, Spirit's saying literally on Thursday, you can even make that choice. But right now, just kind of get in a better headspace before you take any kind of, crazy reactions and things like that before you, what do they say? Before you respond to anything. Okay, let's see for card for Thursday. By the way, a couple of these cards are coming out as reversed. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you have so many readings in your card readings that are reversed, that is going to tell you something about perspective and the way that you are seeing things. So we've talked about this a little bit, but it's really, really big. You can see things from a good perspective or a bad perspective. You can see things from a good lens, and you can see things from, a bad lens, if you will. And so we really just need to be a little bit more conscious and aware that what we are doing and what we are thinking about, because there always are two sides to the coin. So Badger Spirit is the number 4, which could be April, the 4th day of a month. And it says, be fearless and bold. And it says, when Badger Spirit comes to protect you, he reminds you that anger or aggression, argumentative behavior, and being pushy or manipulative will not result in a positive outcome. And I want to add one here, being passive aggressive will not result in a positive outcome. Okay. Just really quick before I go on, you really need to try and speak with compassion and love, no matter, like, I don't say no matter what, but making sure that even when you do get angry and you have these kinds of, emotions, that you are still trying to come from a good place. It's possible to be both. It's possible to both be angry and coming from a good place, but just make sure that the other person understands that you are coming from a good place, because they might not be able to see it. Because when you get angry and things and you have aggressive and argumentative behavior, they can literally put up walls and they get defensive. So I'm going to continue on, but keep that in the back of your mind. Perhaps someone close to you has access Badger energy, or perhaps the energy is pent up in you. Either way, now is the time to calm down, allow the energy to pass through you. Go for a hike or a brisk walk, shake it off or dance it out, so you can return to the situation determined and committed, but not so intense that you overwhelm yourself and others. The appearance of Badger Spirit also serves as a reminder if you have been relentlessly pursuing something that keeps indulging you. The message is that it's time to surrender it up to your higher power and focus on something else. Badger Spirit wants to protect you from self-will run rampant, from being obsessed with getting what you want in the form you prefer, in the timing that fits perfectly with your notions of what has to be. Remember, the world doesn't revolve around your wants. Better, more beautiful opportunities will result when you release some of that intensity, along with your need to have it your way 100%. Yes, and I love this card so much because you know what it's doing? It's talking about anti-manifesting. Because when we talk about manifesting, we talk about, what we want and how we want it and things like that. But it's also saying that if you hold on too tightly and you try to control things, that is not good energy, and it can actually stop you from getting what you want. So it's like almost like you just have to give off the energy of what you want by thinking about it, by being excited about it, but then by also just allowing it to flow. Okay, so let's go on to Friday's card, which is the dog energy. And the dog energy is a number 19. And it says, be loyal to what you love. So basically, we were talking about, just like on Thursday's card, it's like you shouldn't be ashamed, or you shouldn't think like have high standards or low standards or whatever. You want what you freaking want, and that's what you freaking desire. But we just have to let go of the control of it. It's like almost like when you are paddling downstream and stuff, like you just can't control all of it. Like, I want to go down here and I want to go this way, and like you can, but guess what? You are going to stiffen up. You are going to be like not enjoying the ride whatsoever. But if you keep on trusting that the river is going to basically carry you to where you want, then it's going to be such an easier ride. If you just trust that you are going and you just keep your mind on where you want to go. But let's see what the dog spirit says. It says, loyalty to people and situations can turn into attachments that results in stagnation, enmeshment, and loss of integrity. Do you fear what will happen if you let a relationship evolve? Are you afraid that asking for a situation to change will help others see you as disloyal? Trust that when dog spirit appears, you are meant to accept the turning of the wheel of life and the changing of fortunes. If you feel you are betrayed or growing apart from someone, let dog spirit reconnect you with a commitment to love in all its forms. Perhaps a relationship is meant to evolve. Perhaps you are meant to evolve too, so that you can experience the growth from which your soul yearns. Your greatest loyalty is also to love. So be open to as many guises, including self-love. You deserve the best, and that is what spirit wants for you. And I would also pay attention to all those little doggies and the fur babies in your life, and the ones that are here and the ones that have passed. If they're past, and they're totally trying to send you signs. And if you have fur babies here, then I think too that they are maybe giving off signs and maybe some symbolism too, a little bit in their behavior that might give you some insight on that relationship or on that thing that maybe you want some guidance on. I never even said that before in my freaking entire life. That is 1000% coming from spirit. But basically, if you have a dog that needs more assertiveness, that is really scared, then that might be showing you that you need to be more assertiveness, that maybe you are scared. And it could be that you're even scared about that relationship. If that dog is coming with health issues, does that mean that, your relationship's not healthy or the way that you're looking at it is not healthy? This is also going to be very specific to your own individual thought process, situations, like how you are. But basically, I would, if I were you, this whole week, kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you watch your behavior of your dog and see if you can get any signs or symbolism about the issue that you kind of would like a little bit of guidance on. All right, well, it was fun talking to you again. And hopefully, if you are hearing this, then this is meant for you, okay? And I will see you on a Wednesday for another podcast episode. But I hope to see you also in the Coffee and Cards Club. Don't forget about it. You can go to therealheatherdanielle.com, or you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes to check it out. I will see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Spiritual AF Life podcast. You'll find all the links to resources and more in the show notes. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on the incredible episodes that are coming up.